All right.
Is this moderated?
This is not moderated. Now, what an editorial board member can look at some stuff, and we have a little button that says inappropriate so people can report it. Again, I've been doing this, we're going into our 17 years, and literally I can count on my hands and toes when we've had to tell someone you submitted something that's inappropriate. I have been amazed that that in fact is the case. And these discussion boards, we just put them up just recently because the new multimedia type stuff.
I noticed that one of the submissions had been modified, and so how does that process happen? Is that based on the editorial board or the editor or just
all different, in a sense, every time someone kind of contributes something new to their knowledge around this resource, it's a modification. So something like e-skeletons, this thing has been around for a long time. I should show you what it is, right? But it develops over time. You have a community of users around it. And here, let's just, this is the other aspect of MERLOT. When I say we have 112,000, 15,000 members, you say, who are these people who are contributing this stuff? So here's Aftab Merchant. He's at Cleveland University. And so if he's using this stuff, you can contact them. Because one of the challenges of teaching and using online resources that you've never done before, wouldn't it be great to be able to say, hey, how are you using this? What are the issues that you have? Are you finding, and if you want to find someone of your like institutions, you can search for who's at Duke or who's at your other R1 institutions and see if they're using, are they on here where you can find them and get some advice from them. Because part of MERLOT is trying to find materials that you would find relevant for what you're doing. Right. Now, one of the things, like I look at this and I say, Aftab, he's created 13 personal collections, right? So he's created a number of materials, all right, on all different topics, genetics, anatomy, nutrition, medical. All right, let's just take anatomy, all right? So he's already searched through, and here's kind of this is how we got it connected. Here's the e-skeletons project. Now, if he's already organized these stuff around anatomy, wouldn't you like to be able to just click a button and say, how can I just copy this whole collection into my own collection and then I can edit it the way I want? Wouldn't that be pretty cool? Well, guess what's right here? Copy this into this personal collection into my profile. So with a click of a button, I can take all these materials. And so if you have one person who's really out there and he's finding stuff and he wants to share it with all the other science teachers, get everyone, members of MERLOT, click, copy, copy, copy. Deanna, you're trying to share materials, you spend your time organizing, click. Now everyone has, and then they can personalize it. I can go in and edit this and stuff like that. The whole goal around MERLOT is enabling the expertise that is exercised on a regular basis in our institutions to actually be discoverable. Right? Are people organizing information all the time? How many of you have a list of URLs of materials? How many people share that with anyone? Right? Do you do it in a very effective way? Or is it by a sheet of paper, or it's in your learning management system as the ability to do it easier and share more successfully is kind of what the underlying principles behind MERLOT is. And why do we have libraries? Centralized services for the discovery of content to save you time and get quality outcomes for your resources that you have there. Yeah?
Does all the content need to be made publicly visible if you want to develop something specifically for your institution and not have it used elsewhere? Does that exclude you from using MERLOT?
No, everyone can use MERLOT. Now if you want to, if you are authoring materials, right, and you want other people to use it, plop it in MERLOT. If you only want people in your institution, give it to Eric. He'll put it in an institutional repository that gets sucked into Blackboard. And so it's only within your institution. What MERLOT is a public, in a sense, library. And one of the things, I say partly, if you want to kind of get the word out around what you're doing at the University of Rochester or any institution, when you're doing high quality instructional, there is really scholarship in high quality instructional materials on. I mean, there is a lot of knowledge and expertise that you put in there. And if you want to, in a sense, publish it, MERLOT is a vehicle. We have editorial boards, which then can review it, right? And we do it the same way. You know, we look at the submissions, the editorial boards evaluate, they triage it, which ones do we do first? We actually have awards, we give annual awards, MERLOT Classic Awards, all ways to get recognition for faculty teaching or creating high quality instructional materials that are shareable. Okay? All right, so far let's just do a process check. How, is it worth your time? Yeah, yeah.
Do you find that people take on a whole course, or they tend to do snippet?
There's a definition of faculty, those who think otherwise, right? And the idea around this is that each faculty has a unique, right?
Something to offer.
Right, and so it's some of them, they want to do their constructive process, right? And so they'll take pieces and then they'll wrap a lot of stuff around it. Other faculty, you know, for example, what we have in MERLOT is, actually here, let me get back to something here.
So the reason I bring it up, it's not your intent. So Bill and Melinda Gates were putting millions of dollars to having, there's 22,000 intro to psych courses taught across the country, right? So their sort of goal was to say, okay, come up with the best, and then we'll teach everybody that same one. Okay.
I am not into homogenizing education. All right. No. All right. I'll leave
That's
it.
fine.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for goals or interests for what this is, because you could put a whole course and say, here's my course. You don't have to do anything. Just teach my course.
Right. Right. And here is what types of things do we have in MERLOT? Animations, assessment tools, case studies, collections, drill and practice, repositories. We got some in biology. In biology, we have 192 courses. Okay, a full course. Journal are open textbooks, right? Quizzes, reference materials, simulations, right? And here is faculty have all different needs, and we hire individuals because of the unique combinations of skills and knowledge that fit into what you're trying to do in a program. And so MERLOT is, we want to give you a full range of materials, and you select the materials that are right for you. I mean, and this is how we grow, because honestly, if you have one textbook, are you going to say everyone in next year we're going to all revise together? I mean, it's crazy. All right? Now, we've used textbooks a lot, and so I don't mind using a quote standard resource out there, but I always am layering on all new materials. And so that's why you might have a free open textbook or take an online course, but I want to augment it with things that are important that I want my students to learn. And MERLOT, by creating this personal collection process, you can say, I'll take this course and I want to add these 3 modules on it. And then I don't have to recreate all the stuff. We have some online courses and open textbooks where we have talking heads in accounting, you can have them look at that stuff, and when they come to class, you can have a real discussion about stuff because you can prepare it, the old flipped classroom strategy. So MERLOT, again, think of it as your library of resources for how you want to instruct, okay? And those are going to be what I see as kind of a key role that our institutions have to get better at, is sharing these exemplary practices. Because some of these things, it's a huge investment to do these simulations right. And so let's leverage each other in sharing those. Yeah?
I'm part of a pretty good size open source community. And one of the things that we're tackling the most is helping faculty from around the country and beyond who aren't the early adopter types just manage the technical aspect of what they would be adopting from this project. I wonder how you folks have managed that yourselves. Maybe some of these materials are easy file types and it doesn't require a lot of technical know-how on the part of the user, but maybe some other parts do. So.
Right. All right. And you know that the little thermodynamic equilibrium thing that we had, it's a Java applet, right? So something like that, you're going to want to make sure your IT folks allow that to occur on, you know, your platforms. A lot of these HTML files, HTML5, all you need is a browser and you're good to go. All right. So and that's why, you know, checking these things out, making sure they work in the platform environments that you have. But most of these are just websites you go to that are maintained. We run a link checker through our whole collection on a reliable basis so you know if it's still up there. And the key aspect actually, because you have a whole community of people using these materials, like DNA from the beginning, it's a website by the Cold Spring Harbor Labs, right? Top rate. When they know that there's a community of people, guess what? They start keeping it up. They maintain it. I mean, some of that, I know, here, 2000. First generated, and it's still going strong. It's one of our top users. All right? Okay. Other questions? Because we're coming down to the end, and there's a lot more we have in Merlot, but I want to make sure I'm targeted on what you want. Yes?
Is there a Q&A form at the website to do what we're doing here?
A Q&A, you mean
Question and answer kind of thing?
frequently asked questions? Yeah. We have a little video. We have a YouTube channel. Here.
Facebook?
Yeah, we have, no, actually we have Facebook, Twitter, here. So if you want to look at news and information. Okay, you want your Twitter, we got blogs, what's new. We partner with Sloan C Consortium on our emerging technologies. We have a Grapevine newsletter, so there's lots of information you can get here. This is how to contribute materials. It's a simple process. We walk them through cataloging. You can also create your own materials. We have a tool called Merlot Content. How many people would like to create their own website that puts their context right? Merlot Content Builder. I'm a cognitive psychologist by training. I'm not a technologist, right? I come from the user's perspective. And even I can create a reasonably looking website. And what I do, I put my context around the content that I find in Merlot, and I can have my students, and I can show you some quick examples, stuff like that. But these are all the simple tools, because as a faculty member, I've been one, full professor, all that other stuff, tenure, is I try to say, how do I make people like me the lives easier by giving you the tools that are always available for you to use. And whether you're in K-12, higher education, professional programs, all these things are there. I want to show just a sense of kind of how Merlot can be applied to lots of things. Let me just go to this. We have a whole set of, India dot. Open education, if you're in nursing or in healthcare, in cancer care, we're working with basically India. They're having the first Indian Cancer Congress in about 2 weeks. And how do you get open education, the instructional materials to all the healthcare providers who aren't trained as nurses or physicians, but are delivering cancer care, palliative care for everyone? So the roles that, in a sense, open education can play in all developing countries, new tools. So if you have programs that are out there, you can think of this as a vehicle for what you're trying to do within your institution. Teaching accounting out there. Having free access to materials is useful. Yeah, Dave.
So I was going to say, in the sense like Wikipedia, in the sense that you have multiple users on a single page, is there a concept of version? So you go in and find a course, or you find part of a course, and you think they're missing 2 large categories. They have 10 of them, but there's 2 more large categories they missed, or 5, whatever. And therefore, you really want to update that material for your own course.
Right.
Turn around and now you give the content back in as another version. So it's really the same material, but it only adds 2 more things. So, sorry, thanks. So what's the concept behind, the open source would mean I can go in and manipulate, sort of like a Wikipedia concept, but at the same time people still have a stamp on that this is my course, and therefore if someone else wants to add to it, they add 2 more things, can they post it again now as their course? Or
Right.
is it, and so I try to understand, when you say make things easier, like you said, people want to put their own stamp on things, but if they
Right.
take 80%, 50%, 20% of what's up there,
Right.
can they repost?
Right, and there is, and let's just separate out, open source is where the software code is open for you to manipulate. All right, we are open educational resources, that's just the content. So really most of the stuff here is not for remixing, revising. What you do in MERLOT is and think of it like a textbook.
So not like Wikipedia.
It's not like Wikipedia. And the other thing, everything added into MERLOT always has someone's name on it.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, here's a comment, who gave it? Is it a student? Is it a faculty member? Is it a library? Whoever, right? So now what we do in MERLOT really is think about, here's kind of a simulation that's really cool, I like it. Now, what if I want to add a module onto it, right? I can use what we call Content Builder, say here is something, I use DNA, and now here's what I want to add onto it. So I can connect it to, and then I can add it by adding it in as a learning exercise or other things, or I can create it separately, catalog it within MERLOT as a separate one, and in my description, tie it to, hey, and if you want to use, here's another extra module. There are ways to kind of add on to it rather than revise it.
But you're not resubmitting it now back in here. It's like DNA for beginning extra.
Right.
Or DNA for beginning extra, or my version, or,
Yeah,
Laura's version, somehow you put that in there. So you're showing, yeah, it's from here, but I modified it.
Actually, you can do that. And here, I'll just show real quick. The idea is to add to the collection. Oh, hang on, let me just, there we go. So when I contribute, let's say you created this new thing. Oh, I got to log in. All right, and so I can go DNA extra, and then I've created something new with Content Builder. I could put the HTML, and then I can again catalog my new thing, and in the description, then I can say this is an add-on module, so if I'm searching for DNA from the beginning, DNA would come up, and so would yours in the hit list type things. I can also connect it to in various ways. So there's ways to kind of help build it, because it's really the adding on process. It's a sedimentary process rather than really the melting and remixing of materials. Because I think that's what we do normally anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a question for you. You mentioned people are accessing this worldwide.
Uh-huh.
Can we see the translate this page?
You bet.
feature?
And let's just go. All right. What language would you like? Lithuanian? Russian? Okay. And this is, again, when we're working in India, you get Hindi. We're working in Africa. We have the MERLOT Africa Network. What percentage of countries do you think have members who are in MERLOT? Over 80% of the countries, right? You got someone who's out there, right? We have a close connection in Chile. So now we have Spanish language materials. If you want to search for only Spanish language materials, Okay, so I'm going to go back to the original since I don't know Russian. Right, and just so you know, we get Chinese, and I'll say the translation. This is Microsoft Translator. It's good enough to know what it's talking about. It doesn't always mean that it's right by any means. All right, so here, let's do search, and I know Eric, we're running. So here we go, advanced search. So if I'm looking for Spanish language materials. And there's something called really IMS standards. There we go, Spanish. We have a partnership with a set of Israeli institutions, so we got like 3,000 Hebrew language stuff. So here's materials, 1,400 Spanish language materials. And so we're working with institutions in Chile to contribute Spanish language materials, right? And I said, why the heck would I want to do that? Well, if I'm teaching Spanish and I want my students to be global citizens, how do you get them to actually look at authentically created materials in those different countries? Eric, yeah.
I have a question about,
Yeah.
Do you find that people have reluctance giving you materials because it's open source, because can they retain the copyright, or if they publish? I'm thinking about people, for example, who are interested about going up for tenure and may have concerns of that sort, and so what kind of materials do you really access through this?
Right. And let's just talk about the issue about tenure and promotion, right? The peer review by members of your field of saying you've done an excellent job is what underlies the scholarly work that we do, right? And these editorial boards on the scholarship of teaching and learning with technology, we're trying to take that same role. And so anytime a material gets peer reviewed, the author can request from us a letter from MERLOT that says, here's what the peer review process is, here's the peer review itself, and it, in a sense, is I'll say as best as possible, a third-party independent review of the instructional accuracy, quality, and usability of your materials, and that letter often gets put in the person's RTP folder, right? And what we get thank yous from many faculty saying it was recognized within their institution as a contribution in their teaching portfolio, right? Now, as you know, tenure decisions are driven by departmental culture and policy, and some departments don't care, right? And some departments do, right? But we just provide kind of the materials that enable that too. And honestly, reputation is the currency of academia. And if you have a material that is on the top of the hit list, got an award, and that's why we do a lot of these things, to give recognition. It helps that building a culture of recognition of teaching and learning. Was that helpful? Okay.
Other questions?
What kind of portability does MERLOT offer? Data portability.
Data.
If tomorrow, God forbid, the state of California were to decide they did not want to invest in MERLOT any longer, what kind of data portability would you have for all your collections?
Oh, yeah.
That's one question. Second part is
Uh-huh.
MERLOT itself. Is it itself open source?
No, the software is not, all right? It's stuff that we've created over the years, all right? But, MERLOT has, are you in IT?
No, I'm an electrical and computer engineer.
Okay. So we have all web services that allow you to suck it into we have harvesting capabilities, but you got to pay us for that. That's how we do and actually I should talk a little bit at some point at a future time over wine. And so actually what we have, we're able to enable other institutions to actually harvest the whole collection and display it. And we're starting to sell our services, in a sense, to publishers, in a sense, because I need revenue coming in to help support it, to get free content in any way that you need. All right? So that's really our goal, is the institutions to be, in a sense, to work collaboratively together to share that content and keep it low cost for everyone. All right.
A point of clarification, the Cal State system contributes to this, but so do many other institutions. Correct.
Right. How many people know the child stories Stone Soup? All right, right. Real quick, it's a process of inviting people to contribute to a community's collaborative activity, and I apologize that, but it's really CSU. So my day job, this is Vice Chancellor Academic Technology Services. I get help over my campus. Night job, Executive Director Merlot, trying to get everyone else to help on this, right? And so state systems provide $25,000 a year. Individual campuses contribute $6,500 a year to be, in a sense, part of the leadership team that lets us guide and strategically plan Merlot moving forward. And let me just give you, if I can, I know I'm running late here, I apologize. But let me just show you something real quick. An example of what we got Merlot X, which is helping, it's student focused. We have a Blackboard building block. You can plug it right into your Blackboard. We have mobile apps. It's at the end. That's right. So you see there's a Stone Soup one there. Okay, hang on. Got lots of, here. We've created the CSU something called Affordable Learning Solutions, a whole website of find all free stuff. Georgia said, I really like that. And so I'm a vendor now. I've created a website for them. I'm running off of CSU servers to help Georgia find where all the free course materials, online courses, e-textbooks, where is that stuff coming from? Merlot, right? How do you integrate library resources, blah, blah, blah. So it's, by being a member in the community, they can say, Gerry, I need this. Can you deliver it? All right, you're a paying customer, you're part of the cooperative. And guess what? Georgia likes it. Oklahoma's asking me for it. Tennessee is going to ask me for it. So we begin to serve one another by being a community of higher education institutions there. Was that helpful there?
One last question. Anybody? Oh, Nora.
So it seems to me the beauty of this for educators is that they can use this content without paying the rights holder, right?
Correct.
So when you deposit your content in Merlot, you're clicking a checkbox that
Correct.
says, I share and share alike? What kind of license?
Right, okay, great. There are different layers of type of licensing. One is, the best way is the Creative Commons license, right? And so if the author or the creator puts on a Creative Commons license, great, that's actually the best. Now there's a whole range of things called acceptable use policies, okay? And in Merlot, it's when you become a member, all right, and when you are a contributor, you say it's basically like an attribution, share alike, fundamental and non-commercial, right? So because most of the stuff doesn't have a Creative Commons license on it. And so it's, quote, copyrighted, but when you put it in, we say, guess what, this is for educational use, non-commercial, and we actually, when we know exactly who the author is, they get a note saying, guess what, someone just found it, put it in Merlot, here's who's going to use it. And it's like, I can honestly, again, the number of hands and toes, how many people say, no, I don't want anyone to use this stuff, I'd take it out of Merlot, right? Because why are they putting them on the web anyway? They want people to have access to it.
All right.
So my last question, was this worth your time? Okay, great.
Right.
Thank you very much.